One. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Create Your Joy podcast, brought to you by self-love coach Shruti Goel and my colleague and friend, mindset coach Ivania Liang. And today we have a lovely song by a group that we have heard from before called Fearless Soul. And the name of this song, Ivania, is it Brave? Is that right? Oh my gosh, what an amazing title.
Yeah. I said like every scar is a lesson.
Oh,
Also.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think somewhere on the internet, it's also listed as Brave. So just so you are aware, as you're looking up the lyrics of the song or you want to listen into it, it may have that alternate title. But it is a powerful song. And as you know, our podcast is all about choosing songs that we find inspiring and looking at the lyrics, diving into the lyrics together to share some coaching principles, coaching insights, and also draw upon our wisdom and experience from the work that we have done in the past and now.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you. And thank you so much for every single one of you coming in and tuning in. We are so grateful and thank you so much. And if you want to share with friends or family that will get some benefit from this, please share it. Sorry, subscribe and like our podcast. And if you have a comment, please leave us a comment. Or if you have a song that you would like us to talk about it and to, share our perspective, please don't hesitate and leave us that comment. Thank you. So Shruti, yeah, I listened to this song and when I heard it, to me, it brought me to a place of peace because it's kind of reinforced what we are and what we have inside of us that sometimes we might forget. But once we face those challenges and we take that action, it kind of brings back all these memories of what we've done during the past or how we overcome challenges, and also reinforces like how powerful we are. And yeah, like you said earlier before, the song is actually called Every Scar is a Lesson. But then, like you said, it's also in other places it says Brave. So you can actually look for the two of them. And I start with the first one, and it says, living life to find a balance. And I will rise up to the challenge when I need to, because everything I need is right beside me. And what is behind me doesn't define me. Oh my God. When I heard this first verse, it got me into a place where we know that we're always looking for balance in our life. And the thing is, that's the key of life. One of the keys to life. We're always looking for that balance because there's a lot of things that can throw us out of balance. But when those things happen, or those challenges happen, it's because we're growing, we're evolving. So that's what is that constant looking for the balance, instead living life to find a balance. And it's not like you find it, but you don't keep it for too long because you keep evolving. But you appreciate that there's balance in life that we had to strive for. It says, I will rise up to the challenge. It says, in order for me to get that balance, I had to rise up to the challenge. Because if I stay in the same environment, if I stay in the same situation, if I stay in the same problem that it repeats itself, that means I'm just going to stay there lingering around. And it's kind of, to me, it's kind of, it's like seeing herself and looking at herself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And talking to her, like listening to I was going to say to each other, but because, I've always say the higher self, which is the wise voice, your lower self, which is the one it gets so confused with the loudness around it. and also from your souls. So you having this communication, and we are reassuring each other by saying, and I will rise up to the challenge when I need to. And it says, because everything I need, it's right beside me. And what is behind me doesn't define me. Those two things, when I hear everything that I need is beside me, I'm looking inwardly and saying that, you know what? I have me. I have my higher self. I have my intuition. I have my wise voice. I have them with me.
Yeah.
And what is behind me doesn't define me. Really, this is a very important sentence that I like to emphasize, because what we've done in the past doesn't define who we are at this moment and this present. It's actually allowing yourself to give yourself grace and forgiving yourself for what you've done before, because you did what you could, what you knew at that time. And as we grow, then we try to make better decisions. And actually, this is more saying, that person, it's not me. This is the new me. And then that's how we evolved. And it's just so beautiful. What is your take on this, Shruti?
Oh, first of all, Ivania, I just love that we have such different viewpoints on these songs. And I just wanted to take a moment and also encourage our audience. If you're not used to getting your voice in the room, this is your opportunity to do that. Again, we invite kind comments, constructive comments regarding, these songs. But I think we need more diverse perspectives in the world, because so often there's a small group of people that are trying to form our opinions about things. And in fact, if we can honor the uniqueness within us, there's so much there for us to explore. So I benefit from your perspective, actually. And something that really struck me is, again, how you beautifully brought up this idea that, in life, balance is something to strive for. And it's okay if we are challenged in keeping the balance, because it's worthy to just pursue it. It's a goal that's worthy of pursuing, but actually the journey itself is very meaningful. And that really resonated deeply with me, because I find that somewhere I have been on my own journey to defeat perfectionism that gets conditioned into us throughout our schooling, throughout our work years, where you don't get 100% of the marks on anything. And people will always tell you, oh yeah, that's because there's a little more left over. No one is perfect. So it leaves you feeling like there's not enough of you in some way. But I love this reminder that actually this balance is something you strive for. It's okay if you don't have it, but to feel the willingness inside you to rise up to the challenge. And I feel like in our work, we have done it by both pursuing coaching as a career and then also embracing public speaking as our way of getting our message out there. And I also want to say that the line that struck me here is, what's behind me doesn't define me. I think that is hugely important as a reminder for us, because how often in the midst of a difficult moment or when we are facing failure, do we fall into that pity party of going over every single mistake we've made in the past, rather than reminding ourselves, hey, that happened. And guess what? I had done things in this way the last time it happened. How can I do it differently so that at least I'm making a new mistake? It might still be a mistake. You might still fail, but that's just, you're focusing on actions, rather than obsessing about the outcomes. So anyway, so I find this song to be incredibly powerful. And I just also want to add that the musicality, this song is so wonderfully musical. It draws you in. I was listening to it for the first time, and even the people around me got interested, like, oh, who is this song by? Because again, Fearless Soul is not necessarily in the same category as the average pop music, but it is just as valuable for the messages that their songs carry. And so coming over to now the chorus, as my consciousness awakes, I've forgiven my mistakes. I'm living my truth. It's what I choose. So I love this. It's as we have found in some of the choruses with other songs that we have delved deeper into. This one too is designed to, kind of strengthen our awareness of ourselves and our ability to give ourselves some compassion. And so it clearly says that the consciousness is becoming, in my work in self-love and empowerment coaching, we say that you're going from a separation consciousness where you're constantly feeling a threat from the people around you to a unity consciousness where you feel you're able to relate to the pain that other people experience. So as the consciousness awakes, I've forgiven my mistakes. You're able to find some compassion for yourself. And you know what? If you are the kind of person who can forgive yourself, you will also be the person who can give grace to others. And I have to tell our audience that Ivania is my go-to person that constantly gives grace to me. And I find that as I've come to know her, it's because she holds a lot of self-compassion for herself, that she has really worked on her own ability to have that relationship with her higher self. So Ivania, I think to me, this song is a representation in a way of what you offer to others as well. I've forgiven my mistakes. I'm living my truth. And this idea that when the consciousness awakens, you just simply can't allow yourself to deny who you are anymore, to strangle your own voice, or to hold back the truth that really wants to be expressed from you, whether it is by your voice, whether it's by your words, whether it's in another form like art. It's what I choose. And I think this is a real sign of someone kind of getting in touch with their creativity, is that they start to choose how they spend their energy or who they share that energy with, rather than simply letting anything and everything happen. So this is just halfway point of the chorus, but I just wanted to pause, Ivania, and I see some expressions on your face, and I just want to know, what do you think about it so far?
Oh my God, thank you for asking. And like you say, this is just like the beginning of the chorus, but it has such a power that is trying to wake you up deeply, because there's grades of awareness, right? And consciousness. So when I said, and as my consciousness awakes, that is, I've forgiven my mistake. This is where I feel that you started to be more awakened, and then you realize, because you've been reflecting on your mistakes, but not to hold them against you, but more like, how can I learn? Or why did I learn from that lesson? And give yourself that grace, because it's so important to give each other grace. And to me, the reason that I always recommend for everyone to give is, ourselves grace, is because it opens up a door that you be able to grow from that point to a higher point. Because if we live constantly living in and judging ourselves and criticizing for that mistake, we're not able to look up. And that's why grace is so important. And like I said, your consciousness awakes. And you said it earlier, you touched on it, when it says, when you give yourself grace, then you're able to give other people grace.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like. And it says, and then when you start recognizing, open that door for grace to come in, for you to grow, then you start living your truth. And that is your truth. That, I was gonna say, like that transition, not the mistake or not the action, but that little transition that you're making is living in the truth. Because every time you're living, it's like living in the moment, where the future is not here yet, and the past is already there. So to me, this is such a powerful, chorus where it starts and then it says, I choose.
Yeah.
And then she started to be more certain, more confident that that's not going to hold her back.
Right.
What can I do to move forward? And I have to choose.
Yes.
So I love that. So everyone give each other grace so we're able to grow, and you stand in your truth so you can choose.
Beautiful, beautifully articulated, Ivania. And I think your visualization about that door getting open wider to opportunities, I think that's going to stay with me as well, because that's a beautiful visual description of what happens. And to continue with the chorus, here we go. Feel the fear and do it anyways. And I believe this is so important to say like this, that it's not that you're suddenly going to be immune to fear, or you will never experience any anxiety or concern anymore. But it is that there is a space that you're creating, like you were saying, that door is widening so that there's room to hope in the face of fear. And so you're doing it anyway. The fear is there and you recognize its presence, but you're witnessing it. And you're saying, and I can still do it. You can move the mountains. Don't even hesitate. And this is amazing. Sometimes the obstacles that we perceive in our way. At the beginning of this podcasting journey, there were plenty of obstacles in our way. And yet, we just calmly took one step at a time and didn't hesitate in moving forward, knowing that if we made a mistake, we would just learn from it and keep going forward. Do the things that make you most afraid. And here we are, sharing with you in the most vulnerable way that we can think of, doing things that perhaps at some point we had been most afraid of. And we continue outside of the podcast, we continue to pursue our work in coaching in new and innovative ways. And here we go. Every scar is a lesson. I am learning to be brave. And this is a lovely reminder that when someone does get a scar, in our world, it has become all about looking like you have glass skin and no pores and no wrinkles and nothing on your face. You want to erase the history that's on your face. And yet, some of the most resilient people in the world, we look at them and their uniqueness comes from those wrinkles. Their uniqueness comes from the scars. Their uniqueness comes from the conditions that they have endured. And that someone else can't even imagine living through. So I just want to share one or two examples that come to my mind. One is definitely the young activist Malala Yousafzai, who was a young Afghani girl who had been shot in the face because all she wanted to do was go to school. And now she proudly lives her life. She's got the scar from the bullet wound, and yet she continues to live her life. And similarly, there is another celebrity, Padma Lakshmi, who is a celebrity chef, and she carries a very visible scar on her body. And yet, she, whenever anyone asks her about it, it has become part of the story of her victory rather than a failure. So it's a really beautiful reminder to continue learning to be brave. It's the process of a lifetime, and better to embrace your scars than be embarrassed by them.
Beautiful, Westell. And then one thing that came up to me when you said embracing, I think that when you said like embracing is that leaving that shame behind. And when you have no shame, when you don't feel shame at all, you're unstoppable.
Yeah. Well,
because there's nothing that can stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Sister, for that.
Oh my goodness. So, continuing now, I want to do the next verse, which says, "You are not wrong for living loud." And I had to chuckle at this one because I have always been someone that if I'm excited about something, I do get a little loud. And when I was a kid, I would always be the child in class who the teacher would say, "Oh, she's so smart, but she's just so talkative. She's always talking." And, at some point, I began to fear that, whether my voice should be heard or not. So this part of the song really made me laugh out loud. You're not wrong for living loud. And what that means is be who you are, unabashedly, you know, and even if it makes someone else want to hush you up, you're standing strong, you won't back down when they need you. And this is part of it, is when you're living from your truth, then you're standing strong. You feel very stable, and sure, people can try to ruffle your feathers, but you're going to remain unruffled. You won't back down when they need you. Trouble arising, you keep on smiling. And that is that grace under pressure. You realize that it really doesn't matter what the outcome is. You're not obsessed with the outcome. You're focused on your action, what you can do. Your confidence shining, brighter than lightning. I love this line, brighter than lightning. And what could be better? I don't think I can add anything here. Your confidence shining. And, how that shining becomes brighter than lightning is only when you have lit the lamp deep within yourself. When the fuel for that lamp comes from your own self-love that flows deeply from within you towards you, it's like you were saying, a force that's unstoppable.
Yes. Yeah, no, beautiful. Beautiful. If I just want to say something, what came up to me when you were reading it said, like, you're standing strong, you won't back down when they need you. Travel arising, you keep on smiling. And what came up to me when you were reading this, what came up in my mind was like, when you know what you stand for, what your values are, everything around, you're just smiling at it. Because you're not getting upset. You're not feeling angry. You're not feeling triggered, because you know your worth, you know your values, and you know what you stand for. And then there's one thing I want to say, like, the only person that knows you more than your mommy and your dad, it's you.
Yeah.
So that's why you won't back down. So I wanted to say that because it came to me that, oh yeah, that was really beautiful.
Yeah.
How you were describing it. Thank you, Shruti, for that.
I love that, Ivania. And I just wanted to add, as you were saying that, about about being able to stand strong, it also made me think that this is an example of someone who has made friends with themselves. And the moment you make friends with yourself, you become unstoppable, because that's how people get through your defenses in the first place, is they say something that in your own being, something within you is agreeing with their criticism or with their way of making you feel small. And when you free yourself of those energies, then they have no power over you. They're there on the outside of your being, but you're able to witness them and transmute them.
Yes, beautiful, well said. Yes, 100%, I agree with you. Yes.
So I don't know if you have any other thoughts about the chorus or the next verse here.
Well, let me continue, and then we can go back in the chorus, because the chorus comes back.
Yes.
So I will read the next verse. It says, and as my consciousness, awakes, I'm forgiving my mistake. It repeats itself. I'm living the truth. It's what I chose. Feel the fear and do it anyways. So, before I continue, I really want to touch on one thing, that when it says feel the fear and do it anyways, one, tool that I would like to share with the audience that I use, even for my daughter, myself, or the family, my clients. One of the tools is that when you say feel the fear, is that face that fear, meaning like talking to yourself, say, okay, what am I afraid of? Like having that conversation, like you say, let's become friends. Let's become friends even with that fear, because I want to know, why am I feared to do this? And then one of the tools I use is talking and asking, is it a fact? Is it happening right now? Because I don't have to have that fear if I'm safe and secure. And then that's the communication that I have with myself. And so, is it happening? No, it's not happening. Okay, it's not happening. Okay, so we're good. So we're safe. So we start, calming ourselves down from that fear. And then how can I prepare myself to face that challenge or that fear that I have? What can I do? And just taking one step, it will weaken that fear. Yeah. Because it takes that step. Because the next step, it will be a lot easier. So that is something that we always have to practice. And if you think about it, when I was thinking about, when the babies, they're trying to walk, everybody walks on their own time.
Yeah.
There are some babies that they don't want to walk. But there's some that just get up and go, right? But they're not thinking, oh, I am afraid. Well, I am afraid because something is going to happen. And something is going to, they're not thinking like that. They're like, oh, I'll try. Oh, no, it didn't work out. Oh, maybe I try later. So, but they don't have that conditioning that we have. Yeah. So I think also facing that fear with, I think I would say like relax, but put yourself in the mindset of relaxation. So you'll be able to see clear of what's the step that you need to take, and take that step. So yes, continue. And so do the things that make you the most afraid. Every scar is a lesson. I'm learning to be brave. And I like it when she says this, I am learning to be brave, because she didn't say I learned. It's not in the past tense. Yes. And it's not I will learn. It's not in the future tense. So I really like that, because it made it as a daily thing. Right. I'm constantly learning to be brave. Yeah. Because we might be brave for certain things, but the other things we might be afraid. And those are the things that we're practicing, and we're learning to be brave. And every step we take, we become braver. We become less afraid. And we'll feel that, okay, oh no, I did it. Yes, I did it. Okay, let's do it one more time. Oh, let's do it again. And that is the living your truth as well, because you live in it. It's proof. You're not taking the words from somebody else and say, oh yeah, just do it. Everything's going to be okay, blah, blah. But we'll have to do it so we can live our own truth. So that's what I wanted to share from the chorus. Yeah. And then it continues when it says, you are unshakable, standing tall. When things get in the way, you are ready and you will be okay. Oh, it just hits me, because it's like I go back to another tool, that I like to use, is mirroring a lot. Yes. Because you stand there and you're talking to yourself, because your subconscious is actually listening. And then at the same time, you start shifting your mindset of viewing yourself as weak, or that you're not able to do it. All the negativity, all the judges things that we like to do. You put it away, and then you're facing yourself, and you're talking to yourself. You are unshakable. Right. Standing tall. When things get in the way, you're ready. And that's the thing. We've been preparing all this time since we are born. We have all these experiences. We have challenged so many things, and we have overcome. And you had to look at where you're now, and look how much you're growing and how much you are growing. So that's why you're gonna be okay.
Right.
I love that. Love, love. What do you think, Shruti?
Said. Beautifully said. And I was going to say, especially for this last verse here, the fact that you're unshakable, there's just this sense of the image that comes into my mind is a tree that's deeply rooted. But in my case, because I'm in the space of self-love and empowerment, I imagine this tree being rooted in your heart and just having this ability to remain calm in the midst of the storm, and being able to say, like, standing tall when things get in the way, just the majesty, uh, of being able to withstand the pressures that come our way, and feeling able, in a way, what I gathered also from your lovely description with the techniques that you were saying that you share with your daughter and your clients, um, the fact that this is a daily practice, and that when it becomes a daily practice, you deepen your ability to be unshakable. The sense is that your roots are going really deep because you're digging a little bit deeper every day, and you're giving them the stability that they need. So I really resonate with that. And when things get in the way, you're ready and you'll be okay. And what I equate this to is, you're ready and you will be okay because daily you've been learning to be brave. It has become a daily practice for you so that you calm down your nervous system. You come out of the functional freeze state that happens when someone is stuck in a perpetual fight or flight mode, or if they feel fear to such a degree that it overwhelms their nervous system. So if you've been learning to be brave, you can, rather than burst through your comfort zone, you can actually gently expand that comfort zone over a period of time, so that you're not kind of destroying your sense of safety, but rather you're expanding your circle of safety. And before long, that circle will be so much larger than where you were before. And what a great way to continue learning to grow as a human being. This is such a challenge for many of us as adults, is when we're done with formal schooling, how do we continue to grow? And it's to become the student of life itself. And I perceive that that's how, through our songs, we're offering this opportunity to others to continue to embrace growth in their lives. And they're not our songs. Well, they're our songs because they're our playlist now. These are songs that we have lovingly chosen to share a specific message. And because there's so many different kinds of songs out there, and yet these ones are special to us because they inspire and they have something to teach.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I really like the fact that how you said it, very beautiful. You said gently expanding. There's no friction, there's no force.
Yeah.
It's just more a daily practice would get you there.
Yeah.
And it will never ends because we're unstoppable and unlimitless. So we don't know
Exactly.
how far we can go until we do that practice. So I really, really love that. And like you said, we really enjoy making this beautiful podcast and with all of you also. And we'd like to hear from you guys. And please, if you like it, give us a like and subscribe if you want to listen to when our podcast comes out. And we are so grateful. And I really want to say that we actually are honored to be here and that you guys are listening to us, to our perspective. And you guys also creating your own perspective.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of this podcast as well.
Yeah. Wonderful. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that if someone is ever interested in working one-on-one or in a group setting with Ivania or myself, you'll find ways to get in touch with us in the description to the podcast. And, we highly encourage you. It doesn't necessarily have to be with us, but think about getting some coaching yourself. Life coaching has brought a wealth of changes and resilience into our lives. And so we're just so excited to share those learnings with all of you, but to also encourage all of our audience to consider getting coached for challenges in their lives so that you don't have to feel alone. And at the same time, you learn some very important life skills that are not taught anywhere else in our life.
Yeah.
And with that, I just want to bring our podcast for today to a close. I again just want to thank you, Ivania, for all that you share with me and for the joy that you bring to creating our podcast. Until next time, we hope that you will create a magnificent week ahead, and we can't wait to connect with you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.